All right, thanks a lot, guys. Welcome, everyone, to Boise State against Wyoming here from Bronco Stadium in Boise, Idaho. Wyoming started with the first possession of the ball game after the kick, and it's a 3-and-out for the Cowpokes, trying to snap a 3-game losing streak coming into this contest tonight. Shane Williams-Rhodes is back to get this punt from Ethan Wood. And Boise State, the #1 punt return team in the country. Out of bounds. They're going to start off with good field position here on their first possession of the ball game. Boise State coming in with 6 wins. Here's a look at what's at stake. They're 4-1 in the Mountain Division in the Mountain West Conference. Wyoming at 2-3. Boise State, though, with the tiebreaker advantage against Utah State, they are in control of their own destiny. If they win out, they can get that rematch against Fresno State potentially in the conference championship game. First down and 10 from midfield for Boise State. Grant Hedrick, the quarterback. Hands it off to his tailback. Jai stopped up after about a 2-yard gain by Stanton. Here's a look at the numbers on Grant Hedrick. He became the starting quarterback when Joe Southland was hurt on the first play of the Nevada game a couple of games ago. Out of the backfield. And a good tackle at the 49-yard line on Ajayi by DeAndre Jones. It'll be 3rd down and 9 after the loss of 1. Brock, both these teams going pretty quick offensively.
Well, this is what they like to do, and Hedrick is a much better runner than anybody Boise has had here in Chris Peterson's 8 years. Watch him keep plays alive, especially in this down and distance.
Hedrick under duress. And he's going to be sacked. He fumbled it. It's on the ground. Wyoming may have recovered at the 47-yard line. Patrick Mertens recovering the loose ball for the Cowboys. And Wyoming takes it back.
That's exactly the start that Wyoming wanted to have. You see Pulatasi there with the pressure and a little bit of the inexperience there of Hedrick making just his 3rd start here at Boise State. As that pocket's collapsing, you got to have much better ball security than that. And turnovers have been a big difference for Wyoming. They started out this year +3 in their first 6 games. Big part and big reason why they were 4-2. They've been -5 in their 3-game losing streak.
The flags down to the field, a little bit legal motion. Up front, Jake Jones looks like he's the perpetrator.
False start. Number 74 offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Well, Wyoming bucking the trend a little bit early in terms of the turnover margin. They've been on the wrong side of the ledger for most of the season, especially lately. Last 4 games, they're -4. Sean Wick in the backfield. It'll be 1st and 15 now. Wick on the handoff and nowhere to go. Stopped up right near the line of scrimmage. Darian Thompson in on the stop.
Well, and that's unfortunate for Wyoming right there. That's Walker Madden, the big left tackle. A thin group cannot get any thinner. You see the look there from Dave Christensen there without Tyler Strong, their left guard, their best, most experienced lineman. So you're going to be looking here at a couple newbies on that left side of the line.
12-17.
You got to find a way when you go on the road and your defense gets you a turnover with that kind of field position, Mark. After a 3-and-out to begin the game, you've got to find a way to get a 1st down.
2nd and 15, Wick in motion. Smith taking off again, and nowhere to go. He's going to be stopped at about the 48, and a late flag on the play. Gabe Perez made the tackle. Kind of a disjointed beginning for both teams here.
Personal foul. Number 40, defense. 15-yard penalty and automatic 1st down.
That's going to go against Armand Nance.
Always the second guy. There you see the instigator, Jake Jones, 72, the right guard. He gets a little push, but you know this. It doesn't matter what sport it is. That second guy that comes in and cleans the clock, he gets the 15-yard penalty. And once again, Wyoming bailed out.
Out of the shotgun, it's White on the handoff. Stopped up at the 35-yard line by Tyler Horn. Let's go downstairs to Jessica Mendoza.
Well, Mark, Walker Madden, tackle for Wyoming, is getting looked at on the sidelines right now. His left ankle is in a lot of pain. They're checking him out right now, but does not look like he's going to return anytime soon.
All right, Jessica. Second down coming up. Little flea flicker action. Smith throws it away. He was outside that tackle box, so it's not grounding. But well, you go back to that last play, Brock, and Jake Jones, who was involved in that personal foul. Jake Jones, number 72 for Wyoming. He was the guy who's been a little feisty this week. He was involved in a little altercation in a fight during practice. So, but you like to see guys on edge a little bit on that offensive line, right?
That's what happens when you lose 3 in a row. That's what happens when a very promising start to this season's been derailed. You fired a defensive coordinator, plenty of injuries, but you can right that ship tonight. You've got to take advantage of these situations, though.
Third and long. Smith downfield finds his receiver for the first down at the 18-yard line. Dominic Roofran.
Completion.
He leads the team in receptions with 56 coming into tonight, and he picks up 16 yards there.
A lot of familiarity between those two. Been on campus together for 3 years. A lot of work this offseason. A lot of trust between quarterback and receiver.
First and 10. Into the end zone, open. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Touchdown,
Robert
Cowboys.
Herron.
Robert Herron makes the catch, a 19-yard touchdown pass from Brett Smith.
Herron's touchdown catch, the 5th of the season for him, and the Cowboys able to take advantage and capitalize on that turnover. Williams in for the extra point for Brett Smith. That was his 21st touchdown pass of the season. Brock, that's the start that they wanted to get off to. Brett Smith with his first touchdown toss of the night. Back with more after this.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Welcome back, everyone, to Boise, Idaho. A glow at night. But right now, it's the Cowpokes lighting the night up. Wyoming on that nice touchdown pass and catch.
And that's the kind of start Brett Smith needed. Talking to Jason Gesser, quarterback coach Dave Christensen last night, wanted him to get back to the kind of ball he was playing earlier this year, cutting it loose. Job well done.
On the return all the way out to the beyond the 25-yard line. That was Derek Thomas. First down and 10 from there for the Broncos. They turned it over on their last possession. Ryan Hedrick coming out for his second possession. Had 6 touchdowns in that game against Colorado State a few weeks ago. Hands it off here. Ajayi brought down by Walker. It's up a second down and 8.
That's not bad, huh, Jones? Yeah. That's getting it done for Chris Peterson, and pretty remarkable now. His 8th year. He's never had less than 10 wins. Got to run the table to get back there, get to that plateau, but never been in a valley quite like this one.
On the slant, broken up nicely. DeAndre Jones got a good beat on that pass, intended for Boldevine. And in a blink, it's going to be 3rd and long.
Boy, what a great start here for Wyoming. And the first halves have not been the issue. It's been finishing in the second half. Couldn't have scripted this one much better here in the first 5 minutes of play.
Cowboy defense remaining staunch. Nice tackle after the catch by Jones again. Huff made the catch, a gain of 4, but it'll be 4th down. Hey, you alluded to it. This is a defense with a new defensive coordinator. Jamar Cain took over after the former defensive coordinator was fired several weeks ago. And Brock, what kind of effect does that have on a player on the field when you got a new boss?
Well, ultimately, you got to go out there and execute. And they did in the first half against Fresno State a week ago before the wheels came off for Jamar Cain. Yes, Chris Tormey was fired just a couple weeks ago. Jamar very new to the game. First time he's called the shots here. And as I said, 2 3-and-outs and a takeaway in this building. That doesn't happen very often.
Claiborne calls for the fair catch all the way back at the 10-yard line. A booming punt. 56 yards. Nothing on the return. Wyoming with the ball when we come back.
ESPN College Football Finale, brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors. Find your own lane at MitsubishiCars.com.
Gotta love some of the outfits here at Bronco Stadium in Boise, Idaho. Nighttime, and the costumes come out. Been a while since they've had this kind of occasion here, nighttime crowd. 1st and 10 for Smith, completes it. Out in the flat, out to the 18-yard line. Sean Wick with another reception. Dion made the stop on the play.
And Mark, this is a beat-up Boise State team without their leading tackler tonight, Ben Weaver. He's got an ankle injury. It's been a lot of moving parts all season long. And as we showed in the open, Wyoming is prolific statistically. They can get it going offensively against a Boise defense that's had a hard time getting off the field.
Pass complete out to the 20-yard line. Heron, who had the touchdown catch a few moments ago, working against Dion. That's going to be enough for a 1st down.
First downs, tempo, completions. When you play in this system, so quarterback-centric, find a way to get the ball out of your hands, distribute it across the field, and find completions.
Smith. Incomplete. Let's go downstairs to Jessica for more.
You guys have mentioned a lot of the injuries that Boise State has had. In fact, Coach Peterson said this is probably one of the worst years for injuries. But good news for Boise State is that Ricky Chongachu, their defensive tackle, is back out there, who Coach Christensen of Wyoming said is the best defensive lineman they will face in conference all year long. So some good news to the injuries for Boise State.
He looks like he's breathing heavily already.
He looks like he needs a new paint job on his helmet, too.
2nd and 10 for the Cowpokes. Smith completes it. Out to the 21-yard line, Sean Wick again. Wick had a big week rushing against San Jose State a few weeks back at 234 yards. Pretty good receiver as well. 3rd and 9 coming up for Wyoming. Smith flushed out. And, you know, sometimes it is a skill to throw the ball out of bounds and away. He survives that one. Good pressure by Dante Dion, but it's 4th down coming up for Wyoming.
Well, this is an offensive line in a system right now that can't afford 3rd down and 9. You just can't do it. You're without your best guard, as we mentioned earlier. Tyler Strong is out. Got dinged up with a concussion last week. Dave Christensen knows if they're in 3rd and 9 against this group, this Boise team, it's got 23 sacks on the season. With a patchwork offensive line, that's tough duty.
Punt to Williams Rhodes. Boise State 6th nationally in punt return yardage. A 38-yard punt, short return. Broncos working with pretty good starting field position when we come back. Get your NFL Sunday started on ESPN. We all know about the curse of Babe Ruth. Hey, what about the curse of Bobby Lane? The Lions have been under it for 55 years. Why Matthew Stafford's eerie connections to the legendary line quarterback may exercise that curse. Sunday, Boomer and the crew discussing on Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. on ESPN. And before you set your lineups, catch fantasy football at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. Nice first down run. Hedrick brought down by Yarbrough.
And that's the element that he brings. Yarbrough by far the best Wyoming player, but Hedrick can run. 6 rushing touchdowns on the year, the 2nd leading rusher. Very capable 4.5 guy with the 40 speed. And you see them take advantage of that mobility.
From the 46. Miller in motion. Wide open. A nice move down to the 38-yard line. That's Williams-Rhodes working against Blair Burns. Williams-Rhodes, you know, Coach Peterson said on signing day a couple of years ago that he might be the most dynamic and exciting of the guys of that signing class. Ultimately, eventually. Little receiver screen. Here he is again. And a nice gain of about 6. 5 foot 6 inches, 157 pounds. Don't let the size fool you, though. 2nd and 5. Here he is again. 3 consecutive touches. First down at the 20-yard line. Brock, I would guess he's part of the game plan.
You think? You think when you're the most dynamic, you want to find a way to get him the ball. He is about 5'5". Remember Dante Hall, Kansas City Chiefs? They called him the human joystick. Right. Well, this guy, because of that size and that stature, he is so low to the ground, so quick. He's a guy they want to get the ball to early and often.
Bronco offense in a little bit of rhythm right now. Hedrick in the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Matt Miller. He was working against Blair Burns. Couldn't squeeze it. And he was right at the pylon. Might have had a touchdown.
And not a bad job there squaring the shoulders. In fact, that's a really good job. And that's a ball that Matt Miller, the redshirt junior, usually brings down. 181 receptions in his career here at Boise State. He's got to find a way to dig that one out. 2nd and 10. They fake the reverse. Fields keeps it. Touchdown, Boise State. Ajayi, pardon me, with the touchdown. I would contend, Mark, that there is not a more creative playbook in all of college football than Boise State, and it doesn't matter who's calling the plays. Whether it was Brent Peace or Brian Harsin or now Robert Prince, they love to find innovative new ways to disguise, to confuse, and to put their playmakers in space.
That's his 13th touchdown of the season. And we're tied at 7. Coaches say when he gets downhill, he can be pretty difficult to stop. And here's an illustration of how he gets it done. Tied at 7 when we come back to Bronco Stadium. Welcome back, everyone, to Bronco Stadium. Boise State tying it up. And Jessica Mendoza, this is an offense that always is reinventing themselves, right?
Oh, they are, Mark. I spoke with offensive coordinator Robert Prince yesterday, and he was saying they're one of few teams that go in the offseason and look, how can we get better? They know that they'll always have their shifts, their schemes, even their trick plays, as we saw. But definitely they wanted to bring in some of the other things they see other top teams doing, like a no-huddle offense. Mix in and not just stick with being one thing offensively, but always trying to get better.
Yeah, Jessica, they certainly have a lot of different looks. They have had, as Brock alluded to, a bunch of gadget plays through the years. Down from the 5-yard line. Claiborne on the return. Tiptoeing up the sidelines, and a nice return out near the 40-yard line as we go back to the studio. And Wendy Nix.
Mark, thank you. It's a Taco Bell Liv Moss moment, and it doesn't get a whole lot better than this. Georgia, Auburn, under a minute to play. The Bulldogs leading by a point, and a last-ditch effort from Nick Marshall to Ricardo Lewis. Touchdown, Tigers. Auburn wins. Huge win at home for Auburn. Mark?
I'm thinking Franco Harris, immaculate reception type.
As good a college football game as you're going to ever see, Mark.
Unbelievable catch. And that's roof run. Pardon me, Maldhart makes the catch, number 83 for Wyoming. Second and 4 coming up after the pass from Smith.
Yeah, that'll work. That kind of balance. Dave Christensen, the head coach, calling the plays. And I would say you need even more of that run tonight. You've got to find a way offensively to chew on that clock and stay on the field.
Wide open at the 48-yard line. That's roof run.
That's one of those plays, and you will see it all night long from Wyoming. Staple in their system. It's a designed run, but if those linebackers start to cheat in, they get around the line of scrimmage, boom. It's Johnny Manziel to Ryan Swope a season ago. You just take what the defense gives you.
Another quick release and reception, this one to Claiborne. Rock, they don't waste much time getting rid of that football. It's a quick three-step drop and out.
Second to last in time of possession in all of college football. Yeah, they don't care about how long they possess it. They only care about getting those first downs and finding ways to score points.
Easton in the backfield now. A design quarterback run. Nice move by Smith. Hey, he can make some plays with his legs. Out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
Yeah, this is a really good little wrinkle here. This is going to be a QB draw all the way. You can see the line blocking that way. He fakes and pumps that short little option route, which you're going to see a ton tonight. And then he does. He's got good quickness. Does he have elite speed? No. But does he have enough quickness and athleticism to do that, to move the chains? Absolutely.
Got 9 on that run. Completes another pass, threads the needle down to the 28-yard line. Rufrin again picks up 4.
Boise State very content to play this zone coverage, keep those 2 safeties. They've seen very little pressure to this point. And keep everything in front. Good look there at DeMarcus Lawrence, the best sacker on the Bronco team.
This time they run it, give it to the tailback, Easton. And Easton is stopped up. His forward progress is going to be marked at about the 29-yard line. Remember, the Cowboys, one of the more prolific and efficient teams once they get inside the red zone. 3rd down coming up. Tyler Horn is the player shaken up down in the field for the Broncos. But so far, a pretty good start for Wyoming.
Good look at Tyler there, one of the big guys in the middle. And both of these teams incredibly thin, and lots of conversations in Boise about the number of snaps. 109 a week ago the defense played against Colorado State. As Jess alluded to, this is an offense that's utilizing more up-tempo and no huddle, keeping that defense on the field. And really a rash of injuries at all 3 levels. Up of 13 starters have missed a game this year for Boise State.
3rd and 6. Wick motions out of the backfield. Pass incomplete and a flag coming. Heron was the intended receiver. Mercy Maston in on the play defensively.
Pass interference. Defense, number 19.
And remember, so much of this decision is going to come down to whether or not Maston impeded.
Oh,
yeah, I think
he was
did.
Holding him like a grudge that time.
That's a good move there by the senior Huron as well, to make sure the referee and the side judge could see that. But if you start to impede that receiver and limit his opportunity to go get the ball, you're going to draw that penalty.
Empty formation, 5 receivers out. Smith fumbled it. And the Broncos recover. Armand Nance
Well, the best football player on this field, arguably tonight, DeMarcus Lawrence, making his presence felt. 8.5 sacks coming in to this game tonight, leading the Mountain West Conference. He's the one guy that can get home in one-on-one blocks. And look at him right at the top of your screen. That's just a speed rush. Brett does not feel him, does not secure the football as he steps up in that pocket. And as all good pass rushers do, and what they're taught in the fundamentals, well, you rip right through that football. What a huge takeaway as Wyoming was pressing into the red zone.
Coming back the other way now. They hand it off to Demas. Evan Demas with his first touch of the ball game, number 26. A gain of 8 on the play. He's one of the fastest players on the team.
Maximize your personnel. Put them in a situation through formations and personnel groups where they can succeed.
There's Williams-Rhodes again. And Rhodes picks up the first down at the 44-yard line, picking up 5. They run it again. Demas again. And Demas with another first down at the 39-yard line. Well, that's a nice compliment.
Well, what have you seen here in the first couple series, trying to run between the tackles, and now, well, you're starting to utilize your different playmakers and your speed and the speed advantage you have out on that edge.
Time they run it between the tackles. And it's Demas with another touch, making things happen.
This is the area of the field, and talking to Robert Prince before the game, those gadget plays, they got 2 or 3 in the red zone. When you're between the 40s in favorable situations, well, they love to dial up and call those looks that the defense just don't prepare for and know what's coming.
Ajayi comes back into the ball game. One little bubble screen complete on the edge. Number 82, Spurbeck with the catch.
Yeah, Mark, get ready to call everybody's name on your call sheet there. Yeah, you're going to see just about everybody. You're going to see 4 tight ends. You're going to see 6 or 7 different receivers. 17 different guys have caught the football, skilled players for Boise State this season.
Running play, this is Ajayi. He's a 1,000-yard rusher coming into the season, stopped up by Huff. Williams-Rhodes comes back in. It's Huff a little shaken up after that play.
That's not good.
On 2nd and 8. Down to the 25-yard line, Ajayi again. And under 2 minutes to go. Boise State approaching the red zone.
And I say not good because Wyoming has absolutely no depth on the back end of their defense right now. You're looking at freshmen or walk-ons if you lose anybody in the secondary.
Going up top into the end zone, incomplete. Miller had his hands on it and couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, and that's rare. I mean, on 2 occasions now, you saw the sprint out the last time. And that's a well-thrown ball. That's good coverage there by Burns, the best cover corner for Wyoming. That's what you do when that cornerback is lost. He doesn't know where the ball is. You put it on the back shoulder, and once again, the 6'3" redshirt junior receiver there, Miller, unable to reel it in.
Dan Goodale, the place kicker, stays on the sidelines. He's 10 of 11 on the season. They're going to go for it here on 4th down. And it's caught over the middle. They go right back to Miller. And this time he squeezes it.
Yeah, you see him hand the ball to the referee. I think you felt some of his frustration right there as well.
Boy, how courageous, how surprising that they go for it on 4th down there, Brock.
Not terribly surprising, even though, as you said, Goodell's 10 of 11, the long of just 39 both on the season and in his career.
Hedrick gets rid of it complete. Miller tries to make a move. Touchdown. They gave it to him.
saw this one coming the whole way, didn't you? You saw, even though Hedrick's making just his third start of his career here in Boise, you saw him step away from the line. He sees the 8 defenders around the line of scrimmage. He sees the soft cushion. And you said it earlier, go back to the big fella. Give him an opportunity to make good. A couple drops, but a couple huge receptions on that drive, including a little 6-yard hitch. He turns into a touchdown.
For Miller, the 6th touchdown catch of the season for him, 19th of his career. Let's take one more look. Oh, nice effort for him to reach out and get to that pylon. I think that's a touchdown. The point good, and Boise State trying to handle its business and get back to the Mountain West Conference Championship game. Up by 7 when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to Boise, Idaho. The Broncos leading the Cowboys 14-7 after that touchdown catch by Miller. Boise State, Brock, for so many years has been the picture of the little train that could, as a BCS buster from a non-AQ conference. And this year, a little bit of an adjustment for them, a little bit of a quote-unquote down year, if you can really say that. 6 wins against 3 losses. They've won 4 of their last 5 games coming into tonight. The 3, Claiborne. Pushed out of bounds just shy of the 25-yard line. Well, the entire NASCAR season coming down to one race. Jimmy Johnson on the brink of a 6th championship. Can Kevin Harvick or Matt Kenseth pull the upset? Or will Jimmy further his legacy and get one step closer to Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty? The Ford EcoBoost 400 at Homestead, Miami, Sunday at 1 on ESPN. Get home to in time to catch the end of that race tomorrow. First down and 10. Pass slant, incomplete. Broken up nicely by Brian Douglas, defending Tanner Gentry.
There you see little man coverage, don't you? You see the sack fumble. They get home, and first down call, not just going to give them that zone coverage and the easy completions, a little man-to-man there, and you're exactly right. Douglas showing you the physical play out there from the corner.
On 2nd down. Smith fires high and he's picked off. On the overthrow. Loeffler still on his feet. And pushed out of bounds finally at the 15-yard line by Sean Wick.
And the turnovers, we talked about it at the very beginning of this show. It's been the difference for the Cowboys. Been on the wrong end of it here, and you see Brett in the pocket. Fundamentals are pretty good, but that ball just gets away from him. That's not even close. And that's unfortunate. That's now the 9th interception on the year in 6 of them. 6 of those 9 just like that. You just can't afford to go on the road. Number 1, you have the fumble that leads to the touchdown, and now the pick that puts Boise right in the red zone.
Yeah. Little out pattern, little flea flicker, a little trickery off the catch. Charles Leno made the catch and handed it off to Miller. They got a bag of tricks, man.
I just love these plays, man.
That's a tackle that got it.
Sure was. Coach Prince was saying it just energizes everybody. You work on those at practice. No, you get everybody involved.
A tackle? The
sure.
Tackle? I want to talk to the guy that drew that one up. Charles Leno.
He's right
Jr.
down the hall. I'll go get him.
The coach, call my number, coach.
To the big fella.
Let me spin, coach. Back after this. Taylor Loeffler on the sidelines, number 24, talking to his teammates about the interception he had a few moments ago, which has his offense perched at the 12-yard line right now.
Why are you hating on the big fella? Why can't the left tackle? Why can't the left tackle get an opportunity to touch the ball?
Brocky, there's a reason I think he's playing left tackle. I'm not sure. Showed some deft hands, though.
That's 35 consecutive starts. That's a guy that's gone from the right side to the left side. He's an athlete.
Okay.
Just because he's 295 pounds.
Back in his usual position right now on the fly sweep. They fake it. Little wildcat. Ajayi keeps it. Breaks to the outside. Touchdown. They go to their wildcat here and score off of it.
And this has been the biggest problem for Wyoming. The open field tackles have been an abomination really the last 3 weeks. Fresno in the second half ran wild against this secondary. If you lose support, then it's your job out there, corner or safety, to just find a way to slow that running back down. Wyoming hasn't. And because of it, they've looked at deficits like this.
Second rushing touchdown tonight. You know, it's not the first time that we've seen the hook and ladder from Boise State. Remember the Fiesta Bowl back in 2006. Boy, they do all kinds of creative things on the football field. And then the Statue of Liberty play subsequent to that had Oklahoma running in circles, chasing their own tail. And that really has become a part of the signature of this program, their offensive creativity.
Well, I think there's two things there, Mark. Number one, I just spent some time with the coordinator, Robert Prince, and it energizes your team. There's no ego. There's no, hey, we're going to do it this way and this is the only way to do it. They're going to go anywhere if they can find a scheme, a play that works. And then I think secondly, and maybe even more importantly here, this is a developmental program, and they've developed it incredibly well to the BCS level, to all the 10 and 11 and 12 win seasons. But you just can't line up, as Coach Peterson said to us yesterday, and fire away at the big boys. You've got to be creative. You've got to put your talent in a position to win. And you've got to maximize the different skill sets you have to work with.
There's the kick, 3 yards deep, and they'll take it at the 25-yard line. Well, celebrating its 9th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. Since 2005, Allstate has contributed more than $3.3 million in scholarship funds.
And there's one other thing about all of those fun gadget plays. As I said to you, it does energize your team. They know that, hey, we're not just working on these things to run through. We're not just practicing, you know, to say, well, maybe we'll get to these. You know, just like that first red zone play to your big left tackle, you practice it, you work it, you're going to get an opportunity to make a play.
Good point. John Wick on the carry. The Broncos have 14 points off of 2 Wyoming turnovers. Cowboys turned it over the last time they had it. The interception which led to the touchdown. Wyoming coming into this ball game riding a 3-game losing streak, 4-5 overall. They're trying to become bowl eligible. Got to win 2 games out of their final 3 here. Broncos having a tough time getting lined up. Pass complete out to the 34-yard line. Huron. And that's going to be close to a first down, maybe a yard short.
This is a really big drive. You have got to give your defense, your undermanned defense, it only plays about 15 guys to begin with. You have got to give them a blow to give them any chance to slow down Boise.
3 receivers out to the left. Huron, great catch for the first down at the 37-yard line. That's a 3-yard gain and enough for the first down. He has improved his technique, and here's a look at it, Brock.
Well, you see the extra defender coming and the man-to-man coverage, and Darian Thompson was oh so close. Expect a double move when you get a reaction like that.
Fires complete, Smith does, out near the 40-yard line. Gain of 5. Nice catch by Roofran. Douglas there on the stop for the Broncos out to the 42.
And Brett Smith's got to be a difference maker tonight. The fumble, the interception, he has got to find a way to put those in the distant rearview mirror. The only chance they have to keep this game competitive into the second half is if he minimizes any more mistakes and starts to be the playmaker, frankly, Mark, that he was a year ago and through the first half of this season.
He's completed 8 of his last 9. Like a designed run from the beginning, nowhere to go though. Going to be brought down at about the 39. Kyrie Marshall there. A loss of 3. 3rd and long coming up for Wyoming.
And keep an eye on his. I said I think the best player on this field is DeMarcus Lawrence, your defensive end. You see the running back for Wyoming helping out. He's on the left tackle.
Got their ears pinned back on 3rd and long. They take a shot up top. Incomplete, intended for Huron. And it's 4th down coming up. They'll punt. Darian Thompson was back there defending. Ian Loeffler. Well, Huron didn't have much of a chance on that one, Brock.
Not good enough. Not good enough. The strength of your team is your offense. And once again, you put your defense right back out on the field.
Line drive punt. And hit immediately is Williams Rhodes. 44-yard punt, nothing on the return. Time out of the field. The Broncos lead by 14 when we return. It's the most thorough college football show on television with in-depth analysis, discussion of the standings, potential impact of upcoming games, and interviews with college football coaches and players. You won't want to go anywhere else. BCS Countdown presented by Vizio, Sunday at 8:30 on ESPN, then at 10 on ESPNU. Both shows also live on Watch ESPN. That's Burrows on the play. His forward progress going to be marked at about the 20-yard line. Harris making the stop. Second down. About 4. They're going to run it out to the 22-yard line. That's number 26, Demas. Well, Demas was pretty prolific on that last drive. What kind of changeup does that give them between him and Ajayi?
Well, they've got about 8 different changeups. You saw Burrows. That was his first carry of the year. You've seen, as you said, Demas, he only had 3 rushes coming into the game, constantly evolving and changing.
The pass at this time wide open, Williams Rhodes. And he gets the first down beyond the 40. Out to the 43-yard line. We talked about his size. 5'6". Brock, you're what, 6'4" and change? And he's got the hat on too,
yeah,
which adds a couple of inches. But here he is again. Pardon me, that's Demas. But boy, 5'6". You know, I think about Freddie Russell back in Iowa back in the day. He had some pretty productive years out of the Big Ten. He was about 5'7". 5'8". Here he is in the flat. Williams Rhodes. Great burst of acceleration into Wyoming territory and a first down for the Broncos. Picked up 10.
I'll tell you who he reminds me of. He reminds me of the Rogers brothers at Oregon State. This program in some ways does as well, right? Your developmental program. Other big schools looked at Williams Rhodes and said, okay, he's a nice player out of Spring, Texas, but he's 5'5". How does he fit? You know, and much like Mike Riley does with the Beavers, Chris Peterson does here as well.
Little play action. They're taking a shot up top. Wide open, but underthrown. Caught! Wow! Miller! Touchdown, Broncos! Now there's a Sports Center top 10 motion.
Pass interference, number 20 in the defense. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is touchdown.
Mark, that's how you make up for a couple drops earlier. That's
yeah, those are history now.
Yeah, you've done good. That ball was woefully underthrown there by Hedrick. Miller had Burns beat by 3 yards, and Jonathan Smith, the quarterback coach, the former Oregon State Beaver, under Mike Riley, says, yeah, just throw it to the big fella and let him go do his thing.
Good size at 6'3". The extra point is good, and after trailing 7-0, there's a flag down in the field. After trailing 7-0, the Broncos 28 unanswered points.
Offside. Defense. Penalties decline. The try is good. Timeout.
Well, it wasn't quite War Eagle, and it wasn't quite on 4th down, but college football has seen some awfully nice catches today.
That one's going to be tough to beat, too.
ESPN College Football Finale, brought to you by the ultra-intuitive M-Series Smart TV from Vizio. It's beautifully simple.
A little wrestling for last night in a dual meet between the two schools, Wyoming and Boise State. Dakota Freach outworking his opponent to give Wyoming the 3-team points total victory, 17-15 in the victory over the Broncos.
I think Wyoming's defense could use a few of those wrestlers.
Yeah. Broncos have had a touchdown on the last 4 possessions. This one out to the 26-yard line. Quinlan, as we go back to Wendy in the studio. It's a dog's life and a dog's night, Wendy.
It sure is, Mark Jones. It's also a Land Rover above and beyond. How about this finish among the most fantastic of the day? USC and Stanford, Andre Hidari. He's having a good night. He's the hero. The Trojans upset Stanford 20-17.
Well, Brock, Stanford was the highest-ranked one-loss team. Of course, they're no longer a one-loss team. We'll take a look at the BCS standings brought to you by Vizio a little bit later. Pass complete to Wick, and Wick is brought down right around the line of scrimmage. Here's a look at those standings by Vizio.
Well, they're done, and Baylor continues to roll. Ohio State, a little bit of an ugly win today. Defensively struggled. But Chris Peterson, had a great conversation with him yesterday in his office. And by the way, tremendous facilities out here in Boise. And he knows the feeling of sitting there in those standings, wondering what's going to happen above them, below them. As he said, it tends to sort itself out. The minute you start to spend energy as a program, and if you were Stanford sitting there wondering, wow, could we jump over Ohio State? What do we need to do here down the stretch? And Coach Peterson knows this as well as anybody in college football. Handle your business. And more often than not, the process will sort itself out.
3rd down and 7 coming up. Alabama and Florida State, meanwhile, unscathed today. That pass complete for the 1st down near the 40-yard line to Roofran. And Alabama didn't score a lot of style points today, Brock, in their victory against the Bulldogs. Not that it matters right now, though, right?
Survive and move on.
Yes, sir.
Survive and move on in these games in November, especially when you go on the road. Ohio State at Illinois, Alabama up in Starkville. Find a way to get to the next one unblemished.
Number 39. Bringing it straight ahead, it's Sean Wick. And if you're Ohio State and Urban Meyer's Buckeyes, what's going through your head right now? You haven't lost a game in a couple of years, and you feel somewhat stuck in that 3-hole,
No,
right?
you can't. And that was Coach Peterson's point. You just can't expend any energy in that way. And I don't think in these buildings they do. Especially after a game like that today where defensively you struggled. You've got enough of your own tape to worry about.
Smith under duress finds a receiver underneath near the 45-yard line. That's Roofran again. A 3-yard pickup on the play. And Florida State, meanwhile, the other team we haven't mentioned, they rolled again today.
Silly.
Unbelievably impressive.
It's just silly. It's just not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately, if they played their starters and had to put the foot on the gas, you're looking at, I mean, those could have been 100-point wins.
3rd and 4 for Wyoming. They're going to run it. Easton, and he's going to be stopped up short of the 1st down. Is it ridiculous to think you might go for it at this point, Brock?
I don't think it is, but that's not the move that Dave Christensen's going to make. Unfortunately, he's going to run his defense right back out on the field.
A very turbulent year for that man, the head coach, Christensen of Wyoming. Likely style punt, bounces at the 25 and takes a cowboy bounce all the way down to the 13-yard line. So the diminutive and dynamic Williams Rhodes won't get a chance to return, but the offense will take over after the 41-yard punt on the other side. Boy, you talk about BCS close calls, and Boise State. Go back to 2010, the loss to Nevada, a couple of missed field goals. That one was close, Brock. Really close. And then this is the second missed field goal by Kyle Brotzman. Cost them a game against Nevada. In 2011, this one against TCU. Remember this one, right?
Oh, I remember this one. Yeah, it was the week that I wrote the article that Boise belonged. If they ran the table, they belonged right in that BCS National Championship game. And oh, so very close.
And Dan Gooddale's 39-yard kick sailing wide there. He's the present place kicker for the Broncos. This pass complete on 1st and 10. Out to the 17-yard line. Williams Rhodes making another catch. Edward has completed his last 7. Boldevine. Edward over the middle. Incomplete. Intended for Boldevine.
The big Dutchman.
Got a little international flavor on both sides today.
You know, Pete Carroll with the Seattle Seahawks loves unique talent. It's what he always drafts. He tries to find different guys in different shapes and speed. And you look at Boldevine. We've obviously talked a ton about Williams Rhodes. Lots of different unique talents here.
Edwards on the out pattern completes the pass to Miller. Miller has been his clutch receiver, albeit had those 2 drops a little bit earlier. I won't call them drops. They were tough catches.
No,
so
they were drops.
You're a quarterback.
No, those were
you
drops.
call them drops. You're a quarterback.
Those were drops.
First down and 10.
Nice to have a 6'3" receiver, a 6'4" receiver, a speed receiver, a couple different style of backs, 4 tight ends. Lots to work with.
There's Derek Thomas, one of those 4 backs getting touches tonight. Out to the 27-yard line. 2nd down and about 8 coming up for Boise State. Ajayi, Fields, Thomas, Demas has been productive.
It's going to be important tonight, the next few weeks, if they can finish this thing out, to get Hedrick as much experience here down the stretch as they hope to get that rematch with Fresno State.
They get out to the edge that time. That was Derek Thomas. They're about 3 on the play.
Derek Thomas.
3rd down and about 5 to go for the Broncos.
And I like Hedrick. He's got some velocity. The 6 touchdowns that he accounted for, the 1 rushing, the 5 throwing a couple weeks ago against Colorado State. Responded after the loss of BYU. Unique talents. He brings a lot to the table.
Pretty calm, going to try and run it this time, and lunging forward. Let's see where they spot this. He's right at that marker for the 1st down, and looks like he might have gotten enough. Yeah, he did. They're going to give it to him. See the way he kept his poise there in the pocket, Brock. They liken his disposition to Kellen Moore. He's kind of a quiet type. Cool.
Yeah, but I don't think Kellen did that once.
No,
in 4
I didn't see him run
years.
much.
No, he was chucking it all over the yard.
Chucks this one complete. Williams Rhodes again. Nice gain out near the 43. Let's go down to Jessica.
Well, Brock, you mentioned how much Boise State uses so many personnel. I talked to Robert Prince about that before the game. He says he likes to mix things up, use as many guys as possible. That way they're not predictable, and they kind of have an unknown identity that way.
All right, Jessica, here's this pass complete again. Boy, what a move by the little man, Williams Rhodes. Looks like he literally ran under a couple of guys' arms. Coming through the pack of tacklers.
Yeah, he was fun to talk to before the game. Take that little picture with him that you saw, and just reminded me of so many of the different teammates through the years. Just an Energizer bunny, man. Just so excited to play this game.
There's Thomas. Good tackle in the backfield. At the 48-yard line by Huff. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10. But this Wyoming defense is spending a lot of time, Brock, on the field here tonight so far.
It's been a theme over the last 3 weeks, and so many of these losses, a lot of it their own doing. Can't get off the field on 3rd down.
Hardwick complete. And another 1st down at the 37-yard line. This time it's Aaron Burks. With his 14th reception of the season, got 11 on the play. Another one of those tall receivers. He's 6'3". Thomas on the handoff. Straight ahead down to the 29.
Here comes your shot play or your gadget play opportunity here. A favorable down and distance. You've got a Wyoming defense on their heels. Favorable field position. Opportunity to take a shot.
12th play of the drive. Handed off. Nice cut down to the 31-yard line. That was Derek Thomas. Picked up 3. 3rd down coming up.
4-down territory more than likely. We saw them earlier pass on the field goal.
Ajayi in the ball game. He moves out, and we got a timeout down in the field called by the Broncos.
Boise State.
It's their first one of the half.
Media timeout.
We'll take one with them and come back after this. 28-7, the Broncos leading the Cowboys. And coming out of the timeout. 3rd down and about 5 to go. Looking at 4-down territory here. Ajayi in the backfield, lining up behind quarterback Grant Hedrick. Tried to set up the screen, and it's picked off. DeAndre Jones with the pinch and still on his feet. And he takes it back into Bronco territory. Wow, that was a drive killer. And a big defensive play by the Cowboys D.
That's just being really greedy right here. There is nothing but a mass of humanity. And that's one. I know you're coming off a timeout. You set it up. You get to the play that you like. But that's an absolute no-no. That's one that you just got to sail out of bounds or into the ground.
Wyoming with a chance to get a little momentum perhaps going into the locker room. The pass complete to Maldhart. Jake Maldhart making the reception and move the chains. Gain of 11. Another completion, this one to Huron. And he's pushed out of bounds at about the 33. Gain of 6, 2nd down and about 4 to go for Wyoming. Smith inside the 30, still moving the pack. And makes it to the 26-yard line. That's good enough for another 1st down, a pickup of 7. This Cowboy offense, Brock, has had its moments.
Yeah, it's just lacked, unfortunately, some of that punch down the field you've seen from the other side and the self-inflicted errors, their own turnovers. But that's the decisiveness that Brett has got to play this position with. If it's not there, put your head down and get some yards.
Huron on the catch. And he stopped up at about the 23. Gain of 3 on the play. Quarterback Brett Smith described as a vocal type of leader. Also leads by example. Taking him downfield here. Pass complete. And Maldhart steps out of bounds after catching it at the 19. Talked about the red zone efficiency. Pretty good. 1st in FBS.
Yeah, nobody better, but you got to find a way to get down here.
Yeah, that's the tricky part sometimes. 3rd and 2. Easton in the backfield. Hearn, the inside receiver. Smith throws it downfield and incomplete. Easton was the intended receiver. He came out of the backfield. 4th down and 2, and well, you got to think there's not much to lose at this time. Brock, you go for it?
Yeah, I think you do. You know what your defense is capable or incapable of is difficult, and as hard a time as they're having, field goals are going to do you no good against this Boise offense.
Coach Christensen going for it. They're 8 of 15 on 4th down this year. Hearn in motion. Well defended and incomplete at the 5-yard line. Broken up by Ulane. It's intended for Bruce as we go back to Wendy in the studio.
Thank you, Mark. Coming up on the BMW halftime report, an absolutely thrilling finish for Auburn. We'll show you how that happened. USC with the upset of Stanford, and we'll hit highlights from elsewhere in college football in our No Huddle. Robert Smith and Todd McShay join me at the half.
All right, thanks a lot, Wendy. Mark, there are a lot of moving parts on that 4th down play.
Yep, you're doing all of that to try to get what they got, and that's a one-on-one with their big tight end. The ball was there. That's a play that you've got to make. As you said, Ioane with a nice stick. And on 4th down, you got to finish it.
Pass complete to Ajayi. Let's take one more look at that 4th down play. What was the key here?
Well, you get the heat right in the face, but Brett does his job here. And your job is to give your guy an opportunity. He does just that, but it's been the case tonight. It's going the other way.
Williams Rhodes on the loose. Stopped up just shy of the 1st down. Got about 9. Got that 6. 3rd and short.
Remember, you can kick out and block here. The ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage. The big body there, the Flying Dutchman, Bull Divine, getting the little guy to block.
Get it to him again. Williams Rhodes picks up the 1st down. With 1:23 to go here in the 1st half. Broncos moving the ball well tonight.
That's his jersey number representing the number of receptions here in the 1st half. Already 11 for a guy that came in with 60 on the season. I think they want to get him the ball tonight.
Well, they're looking his way and calling his number frequently. Edrick wisely throws this one out of bounds. Stops the clock with 1:09 to go. You thinking maybe a field goal range here?
Well, the nice thing is you're going to get the ball to start the 2nd half, and this is just such valuable experience for your quarterback. A redshirt junior, he's been around, but he's been watching a whole lot. Watch Kellen Moore, watch Joe Southwick. Now it's going to be Grant's turn here the rest of the season as Southwick has the broken ankle he's recovering from. And you've got to maximize every opportunity you get. All these situations, you practice them, nothing like game action.
Under heat steps up. Makes a nice move to get away from the pressure out to the 37-yard line, about 4 yards short of the 1st down, picked up 6. Ulatasi making the stop on the play for Wyoming. 3rd and 4. Little blitz coming and overthrown, intended for Holden Huff. And 4th down now for the Broncos. In comes the punting unit.
Some credit there to Jamar Cain's defense. The interception to stifle the last drive. You find a way to get off the field there on 3rd down. Wyoming's got the 3 timeouts. You know the tempo with which they want to play. Maybe they can get some of that momentum and a field goal going into halftime.
Claiborne back for the punt, standing at his own 20-yard line. A high spiral. He calls for the fair catch at the 17. A great punt. Nothing on the return on the 47-yard punt. And Brock, we mentioned the new defensive coordinator's name, Jamar Cain. How tough is it for him coming in and the personnel that he's managing now to get acclaimed and accustomed to the new scheme?
Yeah, it's about as tough as it gets, and you never want to be in a position. This is Jamar's first year at the University of Wyoming.
Are things really that different when a guy takes over midstream like this?
Well, it's, as we talked to Dave Christensen last night, he just said and felt like Jamar, from a relationship standpoint with his team and with those players, gave him opportunity here down the stretch to try to turn it. Back-to-back 50-point games. Dave Christensen, Chris Tormey, they go way back. You know, hated to fire his defensive coordinator, but felt like that change was necessary. And Jamar gets his opportunity. And he's going to have to get his guys to play a whole lot better in the second half than they did in the first 30 minutes.
Hey, we saw what the defensive coordinator change meant for the Texas Longhorns. It had a little bit of a spike initially anyway. That's the end of the first half. The Broncos leading the Cowboys by a score of 28-7, looking for their 7th win of the season. Right now, we're going to go back to Wendy for the BMW halftime report. Been that type of a first half for Boise State, leading 28-7. Things bouncing their way, but it hasn't been all good fortune or luck. They've earned most of those 28 points. Mark Jones alongside Brock Heward. Jessica Mendoza down in the field joining us shortly. Brock, Boise State 17-0 after a bye week under Chris Peterson. They're playing with a lot of determination, a team determined to get back into the conference championship game.
And you knew Wyoming had to come in here and play a very clean game, and they did really anything but that in the first half. Boise on the field for 49 snaps. This is a depleted and beat up Cowboy defense that unfortunately has been a little bit exposed. Now, a couple of takeaways on both sides have kept this one at least to a 28-7 game, but Wyoming's got to play a whole lot better ball here, especially defensively, in the second half.
Broncos going to get possession to start things off. 2 yards deep. This is Thomas. Right out to the 26-yard line where it'll be first down and 10. Let's take a look at some of the cogent points of the first half.
And it was the sack, the sack fumble there early from DeMarcus Lawrence.
Brett Smith put it on the ground, led to this. Touchdown catch and run by Miller. And then another overthrow and interception. Leading to the Wildcat touchdown run by Ajayi. First down and 10. Gaping hole over the left side. Ajayi all the way out near the 45.
And we called a lot of names of a lot of personnel, not a lot of conversation about that offensive line that was pretty effective in the first half. And there you see a very nice job of blocking down, pulling the guard, that inside power run with the big back getting north and south.
20-yard gain. Hedrick on the move. Completes it at the 48-yard line to Boldevine. Downstairs to Jessica.
Well, guys, Wyoming's defense is just not getting in a line quick enough. That's according to Coach Christensen. He said that the tempo of Boise State has just been too quick, and they've not been able to get lined up the way they want. He also said offensively, they've had 2 opportunities in the red zone. He's like, this game should be a lot quicker than it is.
Interesting. They put it on the ground a couple of times. It should be closer than it is. From their perspective, Ajayi on the run. But what can they do to slow down the tempo of this Boise State offense other than keeping them off the field?
Third downs takeaways. With an up-tempo offense like Wyoming is, your defense has to be good in these situations right here.
Little option to the wide side of the field. Flag down, and looked like one of the defenders for the Cowboys might have gotten a collar. Yarbrough making the tackle on the play. Either that or a face mask.
Personal foul, face mask, defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
When you're a bit undersized, when you're undermanned, and you get your opponent into a third down, you have got to find a way to get off the field. And that looked awfully close, but just a little bit too much of the headgear there. Eddie Yarbrough, the best defensive player for Wyoming, who Jamar Cain said, we go as Yarbrough goes. And unfortunately not making his impact felt a whole bunch in this game.
He's the one with the high motor. leads the defense with 4.5 sacks. All the way down to the 31 now. Hardwick on some bootleg action. Pass going to be ruled complete inside the 20 at the 18-yard line to Aaron Burks. They've had a whole bunch of guys make receptions. One more look about those feet. They got that one in. From the 18. 9-yard gain. 2nd and 1. Give it up the middle. First down for Ajayi. They talked about having to gain 2, 3, 4 yards per play when they run it, Brock, and they've been true to their game plan so far.
Yeah, they sure have, and you know, we've said it a whole bunch throughout this game, just the depth of that playbook and everything they throw at a Wyoming group, and you just feel that defense never gets settled. Whether they get a line, they just always feel uncomfortable against the volume of this offense.
Ajayi again looking to cut back and nowhere to go. Gang tackled back at the 23-yard line. Bernthaler leading the way for the Cowboys defense. Loss of 1 on the play. Over the middle, down the seam, caught. Oh, and incomplete. Had it jarred loose. Holden Huff appeared to get his hands on it, then got rocked. And he might be a little woozy right now.
Pretty tight window here. You see the 3 defenders there in zone coverage. Pretty clean hit from Marqueston Huff. That's your job. You have got to separate the receiver from the ball. Difficult to do at times in this day and age. An appropriate target there by Huff. The 2 Huffs combating, going at it at the goal line. Incomplete.
Hardwick into the end zone, just shy of it. And it's going to be ruled complete. Boy, Shane Williams-Rhodes got those feet down, and it'll be 1st and goal.
Number 71 off.
There's a flag on the play. It's going to come back, but boy, what a great effort there.
Well, he just has tremendous body control, and you see that really in every phase of his game. But unfortunately, that's the big right tackle. He's coming back after a couple weeks off from an injury. That's Reese Odiambo, who offensive coordinator Robert Prince says probably their most talented offensive lineman, just a redshirt sophomore. Like so many Broncos this year, has fought that injury bug. Coming off the bye, he's fought to get back on the field. And unfortunately, there the holding negates what would have been the 3rd down conversion.
Yeah, it pushes it all the way back to the 30-yard line. Edrick fires it out of bounds. Well, let's see what Coach Peterson does. Interesting decision coming up here on 4th and long, and can't put anything by an offense that'll do any kind of trick play there is out there. They send in the place kicker.
Well, this is going to be a career long, because coming into tonight for Goodell, 39-yarder on his career, this from 47.
10 of 11 on the year from 47 yards out. Got it. Didn't have much to spare. But unlike the BCS and the computer sometimes, you don't need style points when it comes to field goals. It's either good or not. And he was good by that much.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Look at the student center here on campus. Broncos leading 31-7. 31 unanswered points after being down by 7-0, clicking on all cylinders here to start the second half.
You said this building's a little different than how you remembered it back in the day. These facilities, top down, coaches' offices, the weight room, like so many we see in college football, especially out here around the West Coast in the Pac-12 Conference. The Boise State really setting the trend in this Mountain West.
Oh boy, big hesitation by Claiborne to bring it out, and he pays the price. Deep in their own territory at the 12-yard line. Let's look at some of the new buildings that have evolved here, that have sprung up from the ground over the years.
It's amazing what winning does.
Yeah.
And getting to those BCS games, and not just getting there, but performing so well and being the darling of college football for year after year after year. And not just the revenue that came from those 2 Fiesta Bowls, but all of the fervor and excitement in this town and community with what's been built here.
Sean Wick in the backfield. Fumble. Broncos got it. First and goal for Boise State. Chanachu made the hit. And Bell made the recovery.
Look at the big fella from Amsterdam. Wyoming was concerned about getting Chongachu back, and boy, that is textbook. Number one, you stand up. The offensive lineman, number 2, you see him rip and tear and claw.
Great play by Ricky Chongachu. And it'll be first and goal from the 3-yard line. That's the 3rd turnover of the night for the Cowboys.
That's just an absolute disaster coming out of halftime.
They're putting their defense in a real difficult position here. Little Wildcat formation. Ajayi coming out to take the snap.
Rolling on the field was fumble recovered by Boise State. Previous play is under further review.
It seemed pretty clear. Now, Brock, I want to ask you this. They came out, as we take one more look at this. I'm going to see if his knee is down before it came out.
Actually, that's a good little review there. Did the left knee of Wick go down as Chongachu was ripping and tearing at the football?
Yeah, from that angle, it was pretty close.
It was a little closer. Now that view blocks. Boy, that's great technique from the big man.
I was going to ask you, Brock, if it does stay with the Broncos, they came out and showed a Wildcat formation. One more look, is his knee down there. You can't tell if the ball is coming out or not.
Clearly down.
He might have ripped it out afterwards.
Good job by the guys in the replay booth who look at every single snap during a game of getting down to the officials, and we need to take another look and see if that left knee comes down. No, I think that ball may have just been coming out right before. And once again, the body's blocking, I think, both ways. Chongachu in the other view, Wick in this view.
That was a tough call. There must be indisputable video evidence to overrule the call on the field. And the call on the field was that it was a fumble.
Do you realize coming into this game tonight, Chris Peterson has never finished a season in the negative turnover margin? Penalties, turnovers, all those hidden yards. He's been so good with this program.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Boise State.
I think that's the right call.
We're going to keep it. Brock, they showed Wildcat last time. Did they lose the element of surprise in that formation after the review? Does it matter at all?
Do you think it matters?
At this point, no.
Yeah, I think physically right now, unfortunately, you're just outgunned. I think you're going to want to, with whatever you do, just slam this right at this beat up and, as I said, undermanned crew for Wyoming that's doing all they can. But when you've got 15 guys to play defense with your offense, it's an up-tempo group. I would contend there's no other offense that plays at the style and the pace that Wyoming does, that burdens their defense in a way, with only 15 defenders to run out there defensively. That's brutal.
They come back in the Wildcat formation. Ajayi going to take the snap. Fakes the fly sweep and nowhere to go. But he makes something out of nothing. Not sure that he got in. They give it to him. Touchdown. There was a missed tackle by Yarbrough. that allowed Ajayi to spring free. Boy, this is close down there. This might be a better angle.
Tremendous, tremendous effort.
This will be the one here.
Yeah, I think he crosses the plane while still in bounds and flying like Superman.
Yeah, he got airborne. And that's his third rushing touchdown of the night. Three turnovers
Was touchdown.
and
Previous
21
plays under
points.
further review.
Now they're going to review this one.
And unfortunately, when your best defensive player, and that's Eddie Yarborough, one of the rare guys that had a BCS conference scholarship offered to him, and he is a good player. He's just a redshirt sophomore. But unfortunately, when he's in the backfield and you can't bring down the running back, that's a sign of bad things to come. I don't think you're going to get any view here. I think much like that previous rip and tear and fumble, just don't think you're going to get a view here that's going to overturn the call on the field.
Jay Ajayi, the 6-foot sophomore, with a great effort. We're just talking about him being really dialed into the game plan for this week and ready for this game. Boise State trying to get back to a point and put themselves in a position where they would play Fresno State potentially in the conference championship game. They have the tiebreaker against Utah State. One more look. That's the play that's being reviewed. And whether it will stand or not, the ruling on the field is that it's a touchdown.
Well, it's going to clearly cross the plane here. When does it cross the plane? Impossible to tell with the different views. This should be call stands and move right along. You mentioned it there. Ajayi, just a sophomore. So many young pieces playing this season, learning on the fly, taking some of their lumps with those 3 road losses. But a chance here down the stretch. Tonight they go to San Diego State, next week New Mexico. Bob Davies, New
After
Mexico
further
to end the
review,
season.
the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
As expected. And you talk about the success of Coach Peterson's program, Brock, over the years. Ajayi from Texas. They've really gotten into Texas and California. And the Boise State brand is pretty strong in those parts of the country.
Feels a little bit like Gonzaga, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To a degree, that when you have success and you get on the stage and you win games and you become, as I said earlier, that darling. That, boy, that's a unique place. And then you get on campus here and they have so much to offer in a great city.
Extra point good, and the margin up to 31 points and counting. That's what set it up. The fumble and the recovery. And then Ajayi going airborne.
ESPN College Football Finale. Brought to you by Energizer Max Batteries with Power Seal technology. And Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind.
Once a Bronco, always a Bronco, it says. And previous Broncos never had a chance to enjoy some of the wonderful 70,000 feet of square foot facility open up this season. The Blameyer Football Center. Housed within the complex are coaches' offices, position and team meeting rooms, a state-of-the-art locker room, player lounge, football-only weight room, and a whole bunch of other nice amenities, Brock.
Winning begets winning. And how about 4 first-rounders in a 5-year span as well? 17 Broncos have gone on and played in the league. And Chris Peterson's now 8th year here.
They won from the goal line out to the 17-yard line. It'll be first down and 10 there. You know, you talk about turning back the clock to 2000. Boise State #1 in winning percentage in the FBS. Not only an act, but in the conference too.
Yeah, and this is not the SEC, and nobody out here, I think, pretends that it's the SEC in some of the schedule, but There have been some really good wins over the years, and when they've gone toe-to-toe with the Georgias and the Virginia Techs and the Oklahomas, they've had a lot of success.
Whistle and a flag. I mean, Brock, the Cowboys are down 31 points right now. Here's the call.
Snap infraction, number 50 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
You're down 31 points. Let's be honest here. What are they playing for?
This is your system. This is what you do. It's regardless of circumstance. It's regardless if it's 15 degrees with 50-mile-an-hour winds, as Dave Christensen said that you will see in Laramie, Wyoming. Yeah, you have got to fight through tough circumstances.
Nice pass on the money, complete to Roofrang. A 14-yard pickup and a first down. Brett Smith on the money as he approaches a school record. Well, it's going to be just short of the first down. Picked up 9. Smith sacked back to the 12-yard line. Who else? DeMarcus Lawrence, the most dynamic player on the field tonight.
That's now 10.5 sacks. It trumps his effort from a year ago where he was a first-team all-conference, and that's just, no, that's unfair for Connor Raines, the right tackle, the junior college transfer, that in space, the level of athleticism, just too one-sided in that matchup.
He'll have a chance to pin his ears back and come again here. On 3rd and 15, almost got there again. Pass complete out to the 28-yard line. Huron. And he's right at the marker. They're going to give him a first down.
And he's not going to quit. It's your second leading receiver, your senior, and this is the kind of anticipation you got to play with. You called it. Lawrence is breathing down his neck. You got to get the ball out of your hands.
Nice conversion on 3rd down. Sean Wick. Put it on the ground. He fumbled. He might have been down. Still loose. A 13-yard gain by Sean Wick.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
It was recovered in the immediate aftermath.
That's exactly right.
By Wyoming.
Yeah, that ball is out.
1st and 10 from the 40. Easton on the carry, and Easton out to the 49. Picks up 9 on the play. This offense playing with intention.
That's a big kid right there. That's a former walk-on that Coach Christensen said one of the better leaders on the team.
He's averaging almost 9 yards a carry on the season coming in. 2nd and 1. Smith into traffic and incomplete. Broken up by Dante Dion, intended for Jalen Claiborne. Brett Smith came up hobbling a little bit. On the verge of becoming the school leader in total yards. Needed 208 coming into tonight. 3rd and short. Intercepted. Dion with the pick. And he takes it back to the 38. Dante Dion with his 4th interception of the season.
There's a little adjustment we saw early in this game. Wyoming taking that little hitch route, that little inside option route over and over and over again. And this time they present the picture to Brett Smith. Take a look at this. Look at all the space. And this has been the zone coverage. Well, this time they sneak the nickel back in. He jumps this route. Brett does not see the complete picture. He's fooled. And when we talk about quality coaching and playing to your talent and changing up your looks and having the capability at halftime to make an adjustment, that is the picture. Perfect execution.
Hendrick over the middle. Pass complete to the 46 to Fields. Is that a call by the guys in the secondary, or is that just
that is an absolute? You go into halftime. Okay, they've nickel and dimed us, and Brett's taken that, and it's 3rd and 4, and or 3rd and 1. We're going to give him the picture, and he's going to think he has it, but we'll see how quick he is post snap, and whether or not he's going to read it all the way through. And that's an obvious win there for Boise.
That was Fields on the run. No gain on the play.
There's a pre-snap picture and a post-snap picture. And especially a guy that's a junior like Brett that has played so much football, he has got to know, here's the pre-snap look. And then when he takes that snap, boy, that picture can change, and you got to adapt.
Dangerous throw complete to Williams Rhodes. Brought down by Huff. The Broncos have been very opportunistic tonight, being able to put points on the board, the result of Wyoming turnovers. 4th down and 8 coming up. Gonna go for it here on 4th down. Drops back. He's going to place this one inside the 10. Well done by the Broncos. Why not, I guess, right? If you're Wyoming, why not? Huff thought he'd try and sneak him a little bit, surprise him. Not quite.
Welcome back to a chilly Boise, and now let's take a look at our FaceTime profile brought to you by Edward Jones. It is Wyoming linebacker Lucas Waka. Has got some good genes. His older brother Michael Waka is the rookie sensation starting pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, and Lucas had asked Coach Christensen last month if he could, what time practice was going to end, and when Coach asked him why, he said, well, I'd like to go to Boston and see my brother pitch in Game 6 of the World Series. Coach said, I don't care if you miss practice. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Get on that plane and go see your brother pitch.
It was a legit excuse, Jessica. That's legit. Great bloodline. What a great job he did this year. The Cards. Easton on the run.
I told you pre-snap, post-snap from the quarterback. How about from the DB's perspective? Take a look at Dante Dion, and you know what he's thinking. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. I'm going to disguise. I'm going to disguise. Ah, throw it. And that's called baiting that quarterback right into the interception.
It looked easy. 2nd and 3. Pass complete to Herron. And he has a 1st down out over the 30. Out to the 36-yard line.
Those DBs love to be so sneaky. Right, when they're talking about all that disguise, that's all the work they do as well. Going into a game, and Wyoming's an offense, and Dave Christensen runs a system that, many times you know what's coming at you. You know what they like to do. So how can you bait? How can you disguise? How can you take advantage and make those adjustments?
Red Smith on the rollout. Beats it. Run with nowhere to go. Hey, Brock, so you've got the DBs playing a little cat and mouse game and trying to bait the quarterback into errand or interception passes. What's the counter now if you're Brent Smith and the offense?
Well, the counter.
What's their next move?
The counter then is you've got to run. You've got to get away. You've got to make a double move off of that. And it's always the chess match going back and forth.
He comes underneath, complete at the 47-yard line, and a little bit of room to run for Rufren. And he got popped at the end of it. But he's into Bronco territory at about the 37.
Well, the one thing, that's a great catch. One thing that Wyoming needs, and you can just feel it, can't you? They just need that guy that's a difference maker. You just need that guy that can catch that little option and shake 2 tackles and give you a big player, catch that shallow cross. What we have seen on the other side from a number of the Bronco players like William Rhodes and Ajayi, they just need a home run hitter.
3-yard gain on the last play. This one incomplete. Intended for Claiborne.
Because of the best of these systems, we've seen a few of them this year in Texas A&M, and obviously they get it from their quarterback, but Mike Evans and crew, it's just too hard. It's too hard for Dave Christensen to find 10 completions in a row and first down after first down after first down. When he was rolling at Missouri in the Frank Boyles Assistant Coach of the Year and up for that award, he had guys like David Macklin who catches little routes and be gone. But
Run it over the left side of the offensive line. Sean Wick picks up a couple down to the 36.
And then so much falls on Brett. As you can see there, just 25 yards away from a school record. And you can feel him. I can feel him pressing. You put on the tape of the Nebraska game to begin the year where they lose by 3 in Lincoln, Nebraska, 37-34. And the weight of the world's not on his shoulders. But as the season's evolved and the injuries have mounted, become more and more difficult.
Out of the shotgun. Given time to pass, but incomplete at the 20-yard line. Intended for Rufrin. 4th down, and no doubt they'll go for it.
Brett is conscientious as anyone in this game. He's served twice as a counselor at the Manning Passing Academy. Very highly thought of guy amongst his teammates, captain of this team. But just feel it watching the game tape, sitting up here tonight, there's just too much on his shoulders.
On 4th down. Smith's got room. Sprinting for it. Close. Tried to extend the ball. Let's see where they spot it. He might have come up a little bit short.
Look at his spot.
You saw Page trying to keep him away from the official so he couldn't influence him. Page the one to push him out of bounds short of that 1st down marker. He tried to place it down himself and spot it himself. That won't work. And the Broncos take over on downs. For Wyoming, it's about trying to become bowl eligible. Sitting right now at 4 wins in the middle of a 3-game losing streak. First and 10 for the Broncos from the 27. Jack Fields in the backfield. A little stretch play for him. And Fields takes it out to the 33.
Yeah, the good news for Wyoming is that they can get through this night. You've got a winless Hawaii team that's got to travel to Laramie.
Got an injured player down in the field. That's Spurbeck. Well, folks, the entire NASCAR season coming down to one race. Jimmy Johnson on the brink of a 6th championship. Can Kevin Harvick or Matt Kenseth upset everything for him, or will Jimmy further his legacy, get one step closer to Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty? The Ford EcoBoost 400 at Homestead, Miami, 1 p.m. on ESPN.
And Spurbeck, a true freshman. On the left side of your screen, you can see him holding the block there. And the pile unfortunately falls upon him, as it looks like right into the lower leg, the lower left leg. High school quarterback down in Carmichael, California. His dad, the head coach at Sacramento State, just one of those football guys. Just knows how to play the game, and like so many that you see on our depth charts week in and week out, dual threat high school quarterback, and then they become safeties and corners and wide receivers, and just want to find those guys and know how to play the game.
On 2nd and 6. Nice cutback. Fields a couple of yards short of the 1st down at the 36. Got 4 on the play. Boise State, one of the more prolific teams in FBS, and putting a lot of points on the board here tonight. 38 and counting. Third and 2. Play fake, got a man wide open downfield. Miller. And brought down at the 12, and a flag thrown. Gonna have a horse collar tackle by Huff. Boy, that is picture perfect play action, Brock.
Yeah, that's going to fall. One of their little gadget reels right there.
51-yard gain, and then some with the penalty.
Personal foul. Horse collar tackle. Count the distance to the goal.
And that's your short yardage package here. And once again, you practice this all week. You break the huddle late. You're trying to disguise your big wide receiver, put him in alignment there right off the wing. Wyoming doesn't identify. They get flat-footed. A little better throw, and this is a catch-and-run touchdown. But on a couple occasions, you got a guy that wide open, don't overthrow him. If anything, you know, that margin of error, underthrow him, as Hedrick does there, but well executed.
Hedrick takes it himself down to the 4-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and goal. What do you make of the performance of Hedrick so far tonight?
You know, solid. The interception on the screen pass, the early fumble, you know, plenty of tape to work on and grow. He's not a big guy. He's barely 6 foot tall. You see the numbers, it's pretty efficient. But he's a really good athlete.
Out of Independence, Oregon. 2nd down and goal coming up. 5 wide receivers into the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Miller time again. His 3rd catch for a touchdown tonight.
Perfectly thrown football when you get down into that red zone. Those windows condense. Field gets smaller. You got a big receiver like Miller, 6'3". It's his ball or nobody's. Others played a fine football game after a rough struggle to begin there with his first 2 drops.
Extra point good, and Boise State leading 45-7. Once again, executing well, putting a lot of points on the board in the wake of a bye week. Rested and ready, moving forward. Back where they got the blue field. Boise State leading 45-7 after Miller's 3rd touchdown catch of the night. From the 25 and out to the 38. It's Quinlan on the return. Hey, it's a great matchup on Monday Night Football. Tom Brady and the Patriots on the road to take on Cam Newton and the Panthers. Middle of a 5-game win streak right now for them. Coverage beginning Monday Night Countdown at 6:30. Then it's New England, Carolina, 8:25 on ESPN. And also on the Watch ESPN app. What do you make of this match?
I think it's about time that the coach and Tirico get a good game. They've had some struggles this year on Monday night. That's going to be a really good matchup. Carolina playing in their front 7 as good as anybody in the NFL.
This is Easton stopped up right near the line of scrimmage by Bo Martin. And boy, Cam Newton has really turned it around after a rough start, huh?
You know what's remarkable about that? He was such a stat monster his first couple years. I mean, all the touchdowns, all the yards. We're looking at the stats as Brett Smith's on the verge of breaking the total offense record here. But much like I said tonight, the too much is on his shoulders. What has Ron Rivera done for Cam Newton this year? He's lessened the burden. You run the ball, you play great defense. His stats are way down, and the team's wins are way up.
Easton with the catch, and a Bronco player shaken up down on the field at the 40-yard line. That's Cleishon Page. Another one of a multitude of players from the state of California.
That's
head down too much.
That's
or
a big back.
Got to keep the face up a little bit.
That's a 250-pound back, and that's, you know, the conversation. Hey, change the target. You know, you hit lower. You don't want to hit in the head. Well, when you're facing 250-pound tight ends, 250-pound backs, as you see Page trying to shake it off, man, how much fun is it to run into those legs? That's not much fun either.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Brock, but hey, even sometimes with a good form tackle, you're gonna be a little shaken up, right? Have some cobwebs after?
You know what? I try to have an opinion about a lot of things, but if I try to answer that question, my defensive buddies are going to turn the TV
What are you talking about?
Yeah, you know, Mark, I had a lot of really good form tackles.
Yeah, they're going to blow you up, right?
I can't tell you how hard I hit people.
Hey, I figured a couple of interceptions along the way. And a big hit taken by Brett Smith, delivered by Maston. Smith walking gingerly after taking that hit. And a big one by Mercy Maston right there. 4th and 5 coming up, and because they're so deep in their own territory, they're going to line up for the punt, and that's not a good sign. Brett Smith limping off the field.
And I think the biggest thigh pads I've ever seen.
The punt. Let's see where they spot this. Right around the 30-yard line. Coming back the other way, Mark Jones, Brock Hewitt, Jessica Mendoza down to the field in a night where the Broncos, after a week off, once again, Brock, have come out and executed. Got up to a little bit of a slow start, falling behind 7-0. But looking forward now to the rest of their schedule, perhaps, what do you see for this team? Able to get back to the Mountain West Conference Championship game?
Well, this is a good step, and they have got to get healthy. I think that's first and foremost. And Chris Peterson told us yesterday he didn't really want to say it, but this is the most beat up he's ever been of any team that he's had here for 8 years. And you push ahead. This is all about those building blocks the next week. And next week it's going to be a blitz fest down at San Diego State.
We have a new quarterback in now for Boise State. That's the freshman, 5'10" Nick Patty out of Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, Florida. Dr. Phillips High School, Orlando, Florida to Boise, Idaho. Think about that for a second.
That's at least one connection, I can tell you that. Derek Thomas on the run. And Thomas picks up a few.
But that's really what I think tonight was for Coach Peterson, and Huff has just battled that shoulder all night long.
He's their best cover guy in the secondary. They really count on him being a big piece back there. Former 3-year starter at cornerback, and moved him into safety this year. And boy, he's writhing in pain there on the sidelines.
This is a hard game, man. And when you get beat up and you get a bit demoralized and you're looking at losing streaks, and Brett Smith knows that he's taking the beating tonight as well. This game can be very humbling. It can be just physically and emotionally draining. And right now, Wyoming up against it really on both sides of the ball.
Nice little option run here by the new quarterback, Patty. And tiptoes out of bounds to the 42-yard line inside Cowboy territory. 20-yard pickup for him.
I think you look at Hedrick. I think you look at Patty. You look at a couple guys that can run. A couple guys that maybe don't fit in that Kellen Moore box, but who cares? Play the game to their strengths. This kid was 34-4 in high school. He was the 8A Florida Player of the Year. The kid knows how to play the game. As you see there, showing off some of the wheels he's got as well.
Hands it off this time to Demas. Demas bouncing outside, getting away from a couple of tacklers, and his forward progress going to be marked about the 39. Picks up 4 on the play. Second down coming up, under 1.5 to go here in the third quarter.
Speaking of tough times, this is a tough guy right here, and he's watching very closely. And that's Dave Christensen.
Goldevine in motion. And right to Demas, and Demas turns the corner north-south. Destination end zone, touchdown. There's a flag down on the play, though, back at the 24.
And I think that expression about sums it up.
Holding number 19 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Second down.
That's Pope on the hold outside. As you see a couple more missed tackles, that's 18 in the game now. That's Xavier Lewis. That's a true freshman that's having to play for Marqueston Huff, who's out with that shoulder injury.
They're going to bring it back now to the 34. Under a minute to go in the third. Derek Thomas in the backfield. And he's tackled at the 35 by Xavier Lewis. Third down coming up.
There is one truth in football, and that is the eye in the sky doesn't lie. And Chris Peterson with these young guys in the game, and he wants to see these guys finish. And on the other side, for Dave Christensen, his guy, you got 2 more weeks, 2 more wins, you do get bowl eligible. And you want to see guys finish plays and tackle and not miss tackle after tackle after tackle. And unfortunately, we've seen yet again.
That was Charles Bertoli, Brock, with a nice run. They are getting even deeper into their roster and depth chart right now. It's going to be the end of the 3rd quarter of play. The Broncos in full gallop mode right now, with a commanding lead when we come back. Back for the start of the 4th quarter. Boise State leading 45-7 against Wyoming, poised and ready for their 7th win of the season against 3 losses. Bertoli down to the 19. Now we've seen 5 different tailbacks get carries tonight.
All right, Jones, it leads to the inevitable conversation that you and I have had how many times this season?
Hit me, baby.
Well, do you want to step off the gas? Do you step off the gas with your young kids coming in? Absolutely not.
Nope. Keep playing. They work hard during the week, too, to get their opportunity to shine. That's what Bertoli trying to do right now. Brought down by Yarbrough.
And if the starters for Wyoming can't do anything about it, that's on them. If you're Chris Peterson, there's got to be some level of excitement to get to see some of the 3rd and 4th and 5th string guys get their chance.
3rd down and 1 coming up for the Broncos.
Faithful hanging in there.
Impressive. On a chilly night.
Is it chilly down there?
I don't know. The heaters on my feet feel nice, though.
Jess?
Well, chilly, guys. You can come down here at any point and feel the weather if you feel like it.
They're expecting snow here today. Saw some flurries earlier. Bertoli again breaks a couple of tackles, still on his feet. And inside the 10-yard line, 1st and goal for the Broncos.
I will say this, Jones.
Yes.
You don't have to totally step off the accelerator, but you can, and they are doing a better job here. Here you go. You can take some of that time off the play clock.
Is that a concession to the team that's getting drilled right now?
I think to a degree.
Is that usually the way it works?
I mean, you've already humbled them. You know they're just beaten up. I mean, you know that they can't stop you. Doesn't mean you take a knee. Doesn't mean you don't run your plays with great effort. You could take a little time off the play clock.
Bertoli straight ahead. Wow, hard running. Down to the 2-yard line. Picks up 8. Charles Bertoli with some nice running on these last couple of carries.
Fresno State better get ready here in a couple weeks. Everybody's talking about Fresno State. Obviously, Northern Illinois, the big win this week, and Fresno State's going to be the BCS buster. They get to number 12, the automatic, where they sit right now. They're ahead of UCF. The automatic qualifier in the American Conference right now is the standing sit.
Bertoli again. And what do you make of the next quote-unquote potential matchup between Boise State and Fresno State? Should that come to fruition again, if the Broncos handle their business, they're in control of their own destiny, and they get an opportunity for a shot at the Bulldogs.
Well, it was a 41-40 game when they met a few weeks ago down in Fresno, which is where that game would be.
There they are on 3rd and goal. A fumble. Bertoli couldn't find the handle, and the Cowboys scoop it up. It'll be Wyoming football at the 19-yard line. Harris recovering the loose pill.
Coaching tip 101 right here. When you're running that option play, you've got to have some pitch relationship. And the backup's getting in there, and when you run that option, you can't be parallel with your quarterback.
Brett Smith back in at quarterback. Delivers a strike in traffic, and the ball comes loose. They're going to rule it incomplete. The official now saying incomplete. And that's Mulhart, who got hit hard on the play. Boy, he took a blow to the head, but I'm not sure that you could actually whistle the defender on that play. Darren Lee, for any, their heads just kind of ended up in the same spot.
Well, there you do see the late flag.
Looks.
Personal foul. Targeting.
Well, there it is. Targeting. That's about as late as I've ever seen one come. A flag.
We have some things to discuss.
Yes. We'll do it on the other side of this. Back at Bronco Stadium, Boise, Idaho. Jake Mulhart being tended to by the athletic trainers and medical staff. He took a big hit a few moments ago from Darren Lee. Subsequent to this hit right there, a flag was thrown, albeit long after the play. They've rescinded the disqualification of Darren Lee.
Thankfully. You cannot legislate the contact out of this game. That is a bang-bang football play. And thankfully the replay booth gets that right.
Out of the backfield, the pass complete to Sean Wick. Second down coming up.
Take a look at those thigh pads and look at Brett just trying to fight his way through. You will not find bigger wraparound thigh pads anywhere in college football.
Pass complete. Curran out over the 40 to the 41-yard line. What's the thought process behind wearing them that big? Did he ever wear yours that big?
Well, I'm a guess listed at 205 and 6'3". And some of the beating, and it's not just for this game. This has been the common theme throughout the year. Yeah, you're just trying to protect yourself as much as you can. And I'll tell you this, Herschel didn't need those thigh pads.
Yeah. Fumble. And he's brought down back at the 36-yard line. Smith going to lose a few yards on this one. There's a look at the last play. Well, we spoke to the replay booth a few moments ago, and the reason that they rescinded the disqualification, they say the defender did not aim his head and turned away.
That's right.
From the contact.
Two things. Number one, he turns his head, and number two, he does not follow through with the action. He's not trying to drive his helmet into the helmet of the receiver. Unfortunately, some of the contact that happens on the football field, but the replay booth gets this one right.
ESPN College Football Finale, brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible.
Well, some of the Cowboy faithful, Brock Hewitt, still hanging around.
The two getting along. Wyoming and Boise State. Is that a wedding? Is that a wedding dress?
I'm trying to figure that out. Eric Thomas in the backfield on 1st and 10 for the Broncos. Pass complete. Number 19, Taylor Pope with the catch. Gain of 7 on the play, out to the 40. Thomas in motion. They're going to run it. Nice burst of speed by Demas. And he gets the first down. Gain 7 on the play. Next game's up on Tuesday out of the MAC. Kent State taking on Ohio. And Buffalo taking on Miami, Ohio. Both at 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2 and ESPNU, respectively.
I will tell you this. Had conversations with both of these coaching staffs because obviously they've both played Fresno State, and asked them their take on just how good they thought the Bulldogs were. I'll tell you what, the difference they've got, much like Kellen Moore for so many years here, and why they won 12 games and 12 games and 12 games. When you've got that difference maker under center, as Kellen was here, as he rewrote the record books, Derek Carr is playing at that level. I mean, Chris Peterson said it, Jamar Cain said it, Dave Christensen last night talked about it. Not been a whole bunch of quarterbacks that Chris has had to file through here. When you have Kellen as he did for 4 years, and that level of stability, it's the same thing with Derek Carr.
You figure Carr's the player of the year in the conference so far?
Oh, he has to be. Yeah, he's playing himself up, I think, into being one of the top, in the top 3 rounds of the NFL draft.
Interesting. 2nd and 1. Demas again getting a lot of work tonight. Down to the 42-yard line. Approaching 8 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Wyoming scored the first 7 points. And then Broncos took over. Thank you very much. It is Elvis night here. Except for the cat on the left is what doesn't fit in.
Yeah, what is that? What's that?
Well, Coach Peterson wanted the nighttime crowd to show up. There's a little bit of a story here. Nighttime football game's a little bit different here at Boise State. Nice run again by Demas. Well, the entire NASCAR season coming down to one race. Jimmy Johnson on the brink of a 6th title. Can Harvick and Kenseth get in his way? You don't think so?
No, write it down.
We'll see.
You heard it here first. Dale
Earnhardt and Richard Petty ready to accept him into legendary status. We'll see. The Ford EcoBoost 400 down by my way. Homestead, Miami. Sunday at 1 on ESPN. Now Johnson only needs to finish 23rd or better on Sunday to win his championship. Qualified 7th at Homestead. Nice track down there. Down there a few times. That pass incomplete. Well, Boise, one of the more prolific teams in FBS, averaging almost 500 yards a game, 488. Wyoming hasn't done their part, though.
No, and that's got to be really encouraging. You get the 3 takeaways. You come into tonight at -1 through 9 games, excuse me, for Boise State, and you win the turnover battle tonight. Really do a nice job of slowing down Wyoming's run, make this game one-dimensional. You get the lead, and I think for the Boise State fan moving forward, for a defense that's had a hard time stopping people, tonight one of their best nights.
Patty with a nice run off the fake. And the freshman quarterback out of Orlando. Dr. Phillips High School, one of the better programs down there in Central Florida. There's a line there, Brock. I'm not sure what it is, so I'm just going to leave it. 1st and 10. Demas on the handoff, and he stopped up immediately at the 25-yard line. Zacha with the stop. You look at the big picture in college football today. Alabama taking care of their business. Florida State really handling their business. The big surprise amongst the top 5 in the BCS standings by Vizio. Stanford losing tonight against USC. How surprised are you by that result? And Orgeron's really turned that beat around a little bit there.
Yeah, I think the challenge for me all the way along, and that's why I did not think Stanford could beat Oregon, was Kevin Hogan. He's not Andrew Luck. He's not A.J. McCarron. He's not Jameis Winston. He's not Braxton Miller. I mean, it's football is beyond just the quarterback, but it is rather telling year after year in the NFL which teams get into the tournament. It's rather telling in college football with the Cam Newtons and the Johnny Manziels and the different when you have that position. And this little guy knows it. When you've got that quarterback position, you got a chance. And Kevin Hogan, for me, has a ways to go. And unfortunately for Oregon, they could never put the game in his hands. They could never get it out of the 66 rushes on that night, because I think Marcus Mariota is a special kind of player.
And somebody got the wrong snap count for the Broncos.
89 offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Does it say more about the Broncos defense tonight that Wyoming scored 7, or more about the Wyoming offense?
I think so. I think when you get DeMarcus Lawrence a couple sacks and a fumble, you know, that play we showed earlier, man, these folks are all into the dance craze.
Loving nighttime football in Boise. We're doing the robot. We're doing all kinds of new dances I haven't seen in a while. Pass complete at about the 19-yard line. That one goes to Troy Ware.
But I think Boise State did defensively what they've done in years past, and that's tackle pretty well. That's force those takeaways. That's get some of those sacks. And that's a really nice job there.
Nice job by Ware dragging that left foot. Puts them in field goal range from the 35-yard, well, 25, a 35-yard field goal. Gives their place kicker a little bit of work here. Goodale knocks it through. And they tack on a few more. Broncos getting funky in the stands with those dances. Back under the lights at Bronco Stadium. I'm Mark Jones, chopping it up with Brock Heward and Jessica Mendoza down in the field. It has been all Broncos tonight. Fans having a good time here under the lights. One of the few nighttime games on national television here.
I think they're just trying to stay warm.
Keep it moving?
Yeah, I think so.
That works. From the 10. Hearn. And brought down at about the 23. Well, get your NFL Sunday started on ESPN. We know all about the curse of Babe Ruth, but what about the curse of Bobby Lane? Yeah, that's right. The Lions have been under it for 55 years. Why Matthew Stafford's eerie connections to the legendary Lion QB may exercise that curse. Sunday, Boomer and the gang discuss that on Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. on ESPN. And before you set your lineups, catch Fantasy Football Now at 11 a.m. Tommy Thornton in the quarterback now for Wyoming. And Thornton will run this club now. The freshman, 6'1", out of Tempe, Arizona.
Probably looking forward to this NFL weekend as much as any. San Francisco, New Orleans, a huge game with lots of ramifications.
Tell me about the Denver one, man.
Can't wait to watch Denver. And you see, you could look at Brett, and Brett's been at that Manning Passing Academy the last 2 years, and to see Peyton against the undefeated Chiefs, and then the Monday night capper as well. Gruden and Tirico get a really good matchup, and Carolina playing at home and turn their season around. Tom Brady coming to town. Some marquee matchups this weekend.
This is Easton on the run. Easton gains about 3 or 4.
And anybody that wants to hate on an undefeated Kansas City team, when you're playing elite defense and you're sacking the quarterback better than anybody else, and in that league, when you can play that kind of defense, don't apologize for who you're playing and being 9-0.
Andy Reid stepped into that job, and immediately it's paying dividends for the Chiefs. 3rd down and 3. Thornton taking off, using his legs to get a 1st down.
You bring up Andy Reid. You know what that reminded me of? Was watching Auburn, Georgia today. You remember about a year ago? Yeah. It was about a year ago today that we were down there, down on the plains, and watched Georgia just manhandle, much like Boise's done to Wyoming tonight. It just wasn't a competitive environment. Unfortunately for Gene Chizik, that was his last game for that staff. And 1 year later, with largely the same players, I know Nick Marshall came in as a junior college transfer, but largely the same group of players. And to do what Gus Malzahn has done there and what Andy Reid has done in Kansas City, and it shows you that yes, you need the players, and yes, you need difference makers, but don't you ever underestimate the power of a coach and its staff.
And change the culture and turn things around with the right tools. Out to the 43-yard line. Second down coming up. And don't forget, folks, coming up next, college football final presented by AT&T. Right after this game.
Wyoming's got some work to do. As I said, Norm Chow and Hawaii winless. Hawaii comes into Laramie next weekend.
Pass incomplete, intended for Rufran.
And then it'll be Utah State for a bowl game, and whether or not they can get that important 6th game. And but to try to find depth, not just talent,
right,
but to try to find depth at this point of the season, impossible. And I think you've seen that, unfortunately, for a Wyoming team now, that for Dave Christensen the last 4 weeks, it was 51 to San Jose State, 48 to Fresno State, 52 to Colorado State before San Jose, and then again, mercifully, 48 tonight as Boise State stepped off the gas. But when you don't have the healthy bodies, and you don't have the depth, and you don't have some of the personnel, it gets really, really hard to compete at the end of a year.
On 3rd and 8, Sean Wick with the run. Fourth down coming up for the Cowboys. So Wyoming will fall to 4-6 and 2-4 in conference play, and now looking at a 4-game losing streak. In the wake of this one, Thornton completes the pass to Trey Norman. See where they spot it. And that's going to be short of the first down. It'll be Bronco football. Bronco ball. And the look on Smith's face says it all. .52 seconds to go in a night where Boise State has dominated its opponent, Wyoming. And it's victory formation time for the Broncos, who will earn their 7th win of the season. Remember, they are still in charge of their own destiny and control of it. If they win out, they've got the tiebreaker against Utah State. They can set themselves up for a game against Fresno State in the Mountain West Conference championship game.
And Rocky Long and San Diego State down at their place next week. I promise you we'll blitz this quarterback relentlessly. But if they can find a way to win that one, and Bob Davie comes to town with New Mexico, they win that one, and they get Fresno. Still plenty on the horizon for Boise State.
That's it. 10 seconds to go, and this one is cooked, glazed, and sliced, folks. The Broncos win it 48-7. 48 unanswered points on their way to the win. For Brock Heward and Jessica Mendoza down in the field, and a talented crew behind the camera you never get a chance to see, we're going to send it to college football final presented by AT&T. So long, everybody.